In a Lalu world of fools, fakes and fanny packs, which man comes out on top of the bottom of the barrel? Today we answer the question of who does it worst in a competition no one is calling Lie Hard, the Fool Factor. Hello and welcome to Lawd Lukan. It's time to get the double talk from a triplet of fools in another episode of Love After Lockup. In today's show, Julius puts his genius to work.
Yeah, that's something I have to think about.
Damodrick puts his genius to work.
You still mad at me?
And this dickhead doesn't. All this and more right here on the Lawd Lukan channel.
I'm over it. Let's just start again tomorrow.
Good day, Kia, Ora and Yazoo to you. Big loves to those who've subscribed, you beautiful people. And a elegant sweet kiss pineapple to the lords and ladies of the Lukan Manor. In the current season of Love After Lockup, we've got a fine selection of liars, fakes and fools. Whether it's the boys giving us a masterclass of how not to do the playering, one of the girls being like, 7 different girls, or people wasting no time in turning parole into parenthood. Today I'm going to bring you 3 different men and ask an eternal question. Which wanker is top of the ranker? For this, allow me to take us to our first contestant. Julius. He's a basic level dirt element player whose specialism is lying by omission, and today we find him in bed putting his hand down his trousers. Why did they keep that shot in? We all knew he was a tosser and didn't really need to see it. And Alexis is getting ready to max out her studying skills. Clearly not maxing out her cleaning the mirror skills though. How mad though would you be if you were Alexis? And this guy, who's done nothing but expose himself as being deceptive, is sitting here playing with himself. You're getting ready to study medicine and make the world a better place, and he's either fiddling with his PlayStation himself or his damned phone. But thankfully, the new con smell is wearing off.
I had to basically ask for him to even tell me, and he lied about where he was going, so that's just upsetting.
Upsetting enough to launch his no arse into the street? I do believe they fitted a door on her apartment. And I also believe that Alexis is fully capable of launching this noodle out of the door at quite an impressive pace if she wanted to. But Alexis is a very tolerant and way too understanding person for her own good.
But I do need you to, really show me that I could trust you.
And sets out what she wants from him.
All we can do is just continue to build like how we doing and just go with the flow.
Worst reasoning ever. So essentially, he thinks that they're building a relationship in some sort of way, and if they go with the flow, it'll all be fine. Well, first of all, her flow might have stopped for around 9 months, so that was where they made the biggest mistake. But he said,
continue to build like how we doing and just
like they're doing. Let's just recap all this like they're doing that they're doing. This is the morning of the 3rd day, which actually makes no sense at all. On day 1, she collected him and his friends turned up without him telling them. Then he saw his family. Day 2, he met Ashley, but he said he saw Ashley yesterday when they were at the gamey place, which would make that the last episode or day 3. And today would be day 4. But it can't be, because this is apparently only the start of day 3. No one really cares if it's 2, 3, whatever days apart. So why do they hide it? Like, why does Julius hide his eye contact when his mouth is moving? He seems to make eye contact in between the lines, but when he's actually doing words, his eyes are all over the place. This guy'd be crap at poker. Good job he's got no money to lose, really.
just go with the flow.
So, going with the flowing is the big idea. Great. I needed to hear something non-committal and flimsy to reassure me that you're not a waste of my time, money, and get your damn shoes off the furniture. With socks too, though. When did that become a thing? I thought sandals and socks or flip-flops and socks or whatever were a reason to call the fashion police. And I know these are sliders, but sliders are just Crocs in sports mode. And Crocs, whilst being fine around the house and garden, are contagious. If you just let one pair across your threshold, it's, they look comfy. And the next thing you know, it's Crocs everywhere. Anyway, Alexis lays down her latest red line and hopes that Julius doesn't cross this one.
Because I can't deal with other girls. That's not a thing.
It ain't no other girls.
Okay, so we know he's always very literal about what he says. So when he says,
it ain't no other girls,
I'm thinking that if she said, are there any girls, plural, that you're talking to, then she'd be closer to the truth and get a better answer.
It ain't no other girls.
Clearly denying the word, not the concept, he chooses the word girl and of course avoids eye contact the whole time he's talking.
But there was another girl.
It ain't now.
Get off your fucking phone. And she's going to stand there and be disrespected like that. Like you don't matter enough to stop texting God knows who. Yeah, sorry, I can't give a shit about your thoughts right now. If you leave them off to the tone, I might think about getting back to you. So, Julius resorts to one of his favourite excuses. The "it was jail and meant nothing" excuse, which is pretty much the same thought that Alexis is trying to avoid having.
That's some jail.
And then carry it out to here, though.
Nah, you right. For sure.
What? Not you write the jail? That doesn't even make sense. She said, yeah, but the jail stuff became out of jail stuff. And he said,
Nah, you right. For sure.
looked so pleased that he'd thought of that. Here's an unrelated fact. The word retard was first used by a guy called George Sandys after he visited Virginia for a few years. Interesting. Anyway, Alexis is on a roll and has an idea to get things back on the Trust Highway.
So how would you feel if I said I wanted to share locations?
Now, let's all watch the dirty little cheater squirm as he tries to formulate an answer. Previously, his genius lines have included, yeah, well, that was jail, and don't worry about it. And, of course, the ever-popular, no, I'm not, oops, yes, I am. So, what's he come up with?
Why dwell on it? We gotta move forward.
Yeah, that's all just stuff that happened before. I mean, who even worries about stuff that happened in the past? The past is the past, right? No one remembers that.
I mean, if you ain't doing nothing you're not supposed to, why not?
I'm not doing nothing I ain't supposed to.
I know, but you didn't said that before and lied about where you was going.
His reasoning was a lot like the don't worry about it line, but with the charming difference of being coherent for a change. But if you thought that Alexis may have nothing left in her arsenal, she breaks out the old pinky promise.
Well, I need you to promise me that there's not gonna be any other women.
Let's see how convincing his response is.
I promise.
Okay, so apart from the crazy leg action, the defensive and guarded body language, and total lack of eye contact, his eyes even go so far as to start flickering about with nervous lie energy. But yeah, you know, apart from all those things, that coupled with the evidence of him being massively deceptive, well, I'm totally convinced he's innocent.
I am still gonna forgive him, but I'm just gonna be more on him now.
Yeah, that's healthy. And here's where we get the finest performance of honesty I've ever seen on Lalu. Now, Chance, he was an awful liar. Lydell Birch, also a terrible liar, plus, you know, being a scammer and rubbish at getting away with it. But Julius is here to prove that his inability to be cool under pressure is shamefully bad.
Nah, I ain't talking to no other women right now.
But is he the worst of the episode? Is there a man who could rival him for arsehole of the episode? Well, let's unwrap another card, shall we? It's Damodrick. His previous performance includes cheating twice and impregnating his ex. And already the only person who was more surprised that these two are still together was her baby daddy, who didn't even know she was going on the show. Whoops. But clearly his activities have included less obvious red flags, such as the old arm grab.
Tiana, let me breathe, bro.
I do think it's a big red flag when he's using his force to stop you walking away. Okay, it's a harmless arm grab and it wasn't particularly forceful, but if the only strategy he has when he's not getting what he wants is to physically take it, then I'd be concerned about where the limits to his aggression were. Anyway, he also does terrible explanations, like when he said,
I'm telling you right now, do I?
That explanation sounds suspiciously like a question.
Let's ask her.
You want to?
No.
Okay, shut up.
And again, aggressive towards her. Where's Shaving Shack, the dad? He's a good man. He needs to come over here and show his son how to do a bit of gentlemaning. But don't worry, Reassurance fans, Damodrick is reassuring everything.
I'm reassuring everything.
Yes, sort of, somehow, I don't know. Maybe I'll start doing it at some point. Later that evening, Damodrick is spending some time with his dad, and there's something very warm about him.
The drama, huh?
It's real. How your mama would have acted.
How did this guy make this guy? Where did the whole disconnect happen? Maybe when Damodrick grassed him up and he went to prison? But here he is now, giving Damodrick the ring that his late wife had.
It's my big mama's.
Yeah.
This is where you make your promises.
Yes, indeed. He's giving Damodrick something that represents his faith and trust that he will do the right thing by his woman and by his late mother. He's taking a symbol of the love and commitment that he had built and passing it on.
You make your promises as real as you want it to be.
Man, thank you.
And does Damodrick get the significance?
I don't know if I'm ready to marry Quiana, but I do feel like I could give her this ring and it can make her feel a little more secure, and maybe she'll relax a little bit.
I think the production crew should confiscate that ring on general principle. And with all respect, Shaving Shack, you're an idiot. Women and sentiments mean nothing to this guy. A guy who's happy to use his dead mother's ring to try and pacify a woman who's got no intention of marrying is pretty damned low.
I'm over it. Let's just start again tomorrow.
Also, here's a prediction. Next time he gets in trouble for flying too close to the sun, he'll whip out that ring and point out how important it is, due to it being his dead mother's, and therefore how much of an indication it is that he loves her, and therefore should forgive him about whatever thing he just got in trouble for. She'll buy that bullshit because, she's always buying bullshit, and I mean she buys it wholesale from Easy Target. So, tired and disinterested, Quiana gives Damodrick the most lackluster tour of an apartment. The one that she's probably feeling very silly for putting all the effort into decorating. But, seeing as it's been like a whole 5 minutes since they last argued, Damodrick asks a silly question.
Welcome home. You still mad at me?
So, take that as a maybe. Damodrick tries to put on the old smooth kissy moves, only to be given the cheek. But then she removes her underwear from the bed because he's not getting any of those kind of treats now, thank you very much, mister. She even gives him the back as they slip into bed, a bed that he then slips back out of later that night to call supposedly to organise some of that childcare they're really good at. And Damodrick says the most truthful thing yet.
I have to lie to her and try to keep the peace.
So, is Damodrick worthy of the a-hole of the episode? Or does that title go to the third and final card in our pile today? A character that comes from the chapter of Brooklyn and Brian. It's party time, and Brian is at the grill enjoying his freedom. Everybody's smiling and having fun until...
And it's easier to have a one-on-one because it's like...
Yes, indeed. This dickhead is card number 3. He's got a name and stuff, but I don't really care what it is. So from now on, he will either be known as this dickhead or that dickhead. Last time we met him, he said this.
Life is not a fairy tale, boy.
Why can't it?
If it was a fairy tale, he wouldn't have been in jail.
Okay, sure, well, let's look at that, shall we? What about Disney fairy tales? Bella's dad Morris was locked up, as was Jack Sparrow, Hercules, Woody, Elsa, Flynn. In fact, without crime, you wouldn't have beloved characters such as Aladdin, who is guilty of felony theft and evading arrest, or even Dumbo's mum, attempted murder of a minor, or Rapunzel, identity theft and aggravated assault on a vulnerable person. But today, this dickhead is poking at the bear in the kitchen.
But what you planning like doing with my sister and all that?
Well, I was gonna start by and I'm gonna and maybe a little bit of for good measure. But to his credit, Brian is exercising a great deal of 50-cent composure as this dickhead keeps pressing him.
Is it like long term or short term? Like what you plan on?
Nah, long term, as long as possible, you know what I'm saying?
Do you have a job, motherfucker? Is there a Waffle House round here wondering where their dickhead got to?
You got a job, you gonna get a job? What you doing? Like you gonna eat off her? Like what you plan on doing?
He's probably just worried in case they stop feeding him.
Eat up what?
I'm just asking a question.
I'm just giving you an answer.
We here, like you got a job right now?
He knows the answer is no. He just wants to be there to be a bit relevant and a bit awkward.
Like I'm trying to ask questions, like.
No, you're not. You're trying to undermine his credibility while having fun by making out he's worthless. You're attempting to bully him while you've got the protection of the film crew. Try that when they're not around. Like to see you do that. But it's just not coming off as genuine. It feels manufactured and inauthentic. I'm not buying this doughboy's bullshit.
So what you want me to do when I get a job, report to you?
Yeah, we'll have a cookout for that too.
I think that silence was largely him weighing up the pros and cons of putting this dickhead through the drywall. But like with all the weak-minded sounding boards for passive victimhood, they're easily shut down.
Been eating, not doing nothing.
You don't know what I do. That's what you assume.
I didn't think of that. So he had built the whole narrative about Brian being useless and stereotypical that he forgot that maybe he was reading it wrong himself. And then totally loses his balls as soon as Brooklyn shows up.
What you doing?
What y'all got going on?
We just talking, I'm chilling.
What y'all talking about?
Now, wouldn't it be terrible if after his awful speech about being fed by Brooklyn, Brooklyn checks to make sure he's been fed too?
You eat?
Yeah. I'm just gonna go get some dessert.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
But I think you need a bra more than you do dessert, personally. So, these are our 3 for today. But who was the winner of Lie Hard the Fool Factor? Well, it wasn't this dickhead, but was it Julius or Damodrick? Well, that is up to you. Leave your comments below and we'll see who came out as the worst of the worst. I shall be watching. And that, my plum duff, is all I have time for today. Thank you so much for joining us. From the new subscribers to the OGs of the manor, it's been a pleasure to amuse you. And thank you so much for your amazing support. So if you enjoy what I do, then please do like, subscribe, and try one of these delightful offerings. So until we meet again, stay beautiful, love to my 3, and you take care of yourself.
Please subscribe now put a like this.